What was early life like, and how did life evolve on Earth? Hi, my name is Catherine, and I work as a docent at the Benesky Museum. Looking at this fossil here, you might notice these distinctive layered ring patterns, kind of like the layers of a tree or maybe a cabbage plant. And this fossil is known as a stromatolite. And these layers were made by a bacteria, and not the type of bacteria that makes people sick, but a bacteria commonly known as blue-green algae, or scientifically, cyanobacteria. And cyanobacteria are unique because they have chloroplasts in them and they can perform photosynthesis, just like a plant. Cyanobacteria are incredibly old. They are found in the oldest known fossil on Earth, which is another stromatolite like this one, that's 3.5 billion years old. This stromatolite is just a half a billion years old. Cyanobacteria were the predominant life form for about 2 billion years, and they actually still exist to this day. They can be found off the coast of Australia and in shallow sea waters, and this is what they look like. This specimen that we're looking at here is another stromatolite at the Benesky Museum. This one is a cross-section that you can see here. Now I'd like to draw your attention up to the top of the stromatolite. Here you may notice the alternating light and dark layers on this fossil. The lighter layers are formed from limestone, and the darker layers are where the microbes used to live. Cyanobacteria grow in colonies. They form microbial mats. They like to grow in shallow oceans so they can have access to sunlight. And the Earth, when this stromatolite was formed about half a billion years ago, was covered in shallow seas. The cyanobacteria would grow at the bottom of the ocean, and sediments would then fall on top of these bacteria colonies, forming a layer on top of them. Since the bacteria then no longer had access to sunlight, they had to move, and so they would move on top of that layer of sediment and start growing again another microbial mat. And this process would keep happening and happening to form these layers. And you can see these layers here. The bacteria would grow in these colonies and these microbial mats, and then sediments would fall, and this process would just keep happening and happening, forming this layering pattern that you see here. Next, I'll talk a little bit about the evolution of cyanobacteria and other life forms on Earth. Looking here, the Earth was formed about 4.5 billion years ago. The Earth at this time had a very harsh environment. It was very hot due to the high pressure at the time, and there was a lot of volcanic activity on the surface of the Earth. These volcanoes released gases including methane and carbon dioxide, which created an atmosphere around the Earth. Subsequently, comets and asteroids hit the Earth during what is known as the Great Bombardment, bringing water to Earth and forming the oceans. So you might be wondering, how is it that life formed in this inhospitable planet at the early stages? And there are many theories on how this happened. One of the theories is the primordial soup theory. In this theory, the idea is that in the oceans, all the key elements for life, including oxygen, hydrogen, phosphorus, nitrogen, and carbon, and water, and energy, were all mixing together in these oceans, and that at some point the elements reacted with each other and formed life forms. There was an experiment done in the 1950s by scientists Miller and Urey that proved that this could indeed happen when in the lab they created organic compounds from inorganic compounds. Unfortunately, the atmospheric conditions that these scientists used were not the exact same as the conditions of early life, but we can still learn a lot from this experiment. Another theory is that life emerged deep in the ocean in hydrothermal vents. Hydrothermal vents still exist today and are home to a multitude of bacteria and microbes. The theory is that these hydrothermal vents existed billions of years ago as well, and the inorganic compounds from the volcanic activity, as well as the high temperatures and the water from the ocean, created the perfect habitat for life to emerge. Once the building blocks of life emerged, this allowed for the creation of RNA, and then DNA, and then microbial colonies like the cyanobacteria in this stromatolite here. Cyanobacteria are unique because they can perform photosynthesis. This means that they take the sun's energy and carbon dioxide and convert it into oxygen. As cyanobacteria flourished on early Earth, the oxygen levels in the atmosphere rose dramatically. The atmosphere, which used to be composed of methane and carbon dioxide, which are greenhouse gases, then the oxygen disrupted this balance, plunging the Earth into a cooling event and the first ice age on Earth. Additionally, as oxygen levels rose, microbes that could no longer survive in this oxygen-rich environment died, and this led to the first mass extinction on Earth. This oxygen-rich environment positively selected for organisms that were aerobic and would use oxygen to live. This then led to the development of multicellular organisms, such as these specimens that you see here on display behind me at the Benesky. The high levels of oxygen in the atmosphere created by the cyanobacteria, paired with multicellular organisms and evolution, created the diversity of organisms that you see here. Cyanobacteria played an essential role in creating an Earth hospitable for aerobic organisms like humans, and a key piece of the story is preserved right here in this stromatolite.